You get no clear answers, no real guidance, just red tape.
Well, that's exactly the trap one business owner fell into, right here in Palm Beach County, trying to get a business tax receipt, a BTR. Today, we're going deep into this surprisingly tricky world of business tax receipts in Palm Beach County. We've got this fantastic source that really unpacks why something seemingly simple can turn into, well, an endless headache. And, more importantly, how just a few key steps could save you months of trouble.
Yeah, it's pretty striking, isn't it, how one single administrative thing can become such a huge barrier, especially if you're new to business or maybe you're just not familiar with how local government works. So our goal here really is to dig into why these roadblocks pop up and then pull out the really critical lessons, give you clear steps to turn all that frustration into a much clearer path forward.
Okay, let's really get into this example from our source. This client, wow, stuck since November last year. Just bounced from one town office to another, then back to the tax collector's office, only to get rejected again and again. Sounds like a total bureaucratic nightmare.
Oh, absolutely. And if you zoom out a bit, look at the bigger picture. This kind of thing is way too common. The system, well, it can be inherently confusing, especially, like you said, for first-timers or maybe non-English speakers. Spanish speakers face this too. Or really anyone who hasn't dealt with zoning or licensing or just local government stuff before. And these breakdowns, they aren't just annoying, they actually stop businesses cold before they even get off the ground.
Right, and this is where our source gets really interesting. It points to 3 specific breakdowns that make things worse. The first one, it sounds almost too simple, but apparently it's a huge issue. Not knowing which municipality your business is actually in, often completely skipped.
Exactly. And you might think, why does that matter so much? Well, it matters a lot. Because knowing the correct municipality, that tells you which city or county is going to handle your zoning review, your use review. It tells you who you need to talk to, whether city inspections apply or county ones. It's like the absolute foundation. Everything else builds on that. If you miss it, well, you're already starting off wrong.
Okay, I can totally see how missing that first step just throws everything off track. So what's the next big hurdle people run into, especially maybe if they're working from home?
Yeah. The second big one, particularly for home-based businesses, is trying to use a residential address for the business itself.
Yeah.
The tax collector's office here in Palm Beach County, they are very strict about this.
Strict. Why so strict, though? You'd think they'd want to encourage home businesses, right?
Well, it comes down to something pretty specific. It's about zoning, essentially protecting residential areas. They need to make sure a commercial operation isn't just setting up shop in a single-family zone, unless it qualifies as a home occupation, and that has, very specific rules and limits. A lot of people don't even realize their business has something called a use classification, let alone that city zoning codes can be different from county codes. And then here's the real kicker, the tax collector. They don't just check city or county rules. They actually apply their own separate set of use classifications for the permits, like another layer of complexity people just don't expect.
Wow. Okay, so it's not just one set of rules, but maybe 2 or even 3 different ways of looking at what you can do with your own property. That sounds incredibly frustrating. Almost like it's designed to trip you up. Is there a good reason for it to be this complex? Or is it just, bureaucracy?
Well, often these layers just kind of build up over time. Different departments add requirements, maybe for safety or property values or, fair competition. The intention might be okay, but the way it's put together often lacks coordination. And that brings us to the third point our source highlights, a real lack of guidance and also language barriers. The client we're talking about, he had a language barrier, and that just made everything 10 times harder. He ran into staff, in different offices who maybe didn't have much experience, or they gave him conflicting information. So he was just stuck in this loop with no clear idea where to even begin.
Yeah, it really sounds like the system itself, even if it means well, isn't really set up to help people navigate its own complexity. It just screams for, clear, consistent information, especially for the people who need that help the most. So, okay, that's the problem laid out. What about the solution? Our source didn't just point out the problems, right? They actually showed how they helped this specific client get out of that trap. They figured out the correct jurisdiction for him, requested the right use verification. They explained the difference, what the city does versus what the tax collector does, made sure his home address actually met Palm Beach County's specific home occupation rules, and then they submitted the completed BTR application for him. And the result, after almost a year of chasing this thing, he had it within a few weeks. That's amazing.
It really is. And it perfectly sets up the key takeaways for you, the business owner listening right now in Palm Beach County.